Alright, another response video to Zack, this time with the gloves on. Okay, a little more elegant, a little calmer, less drama, less cinematographical effects. Okay, less bullshit. But Zack's usually not much interested in conversation and argument. He's just a preacher, okay? He doesn't like people standing up and saying, hey, wait a minute, that sounds like bullshit. Could you explain that? No, he doesn't like to get into the details. He just likes to preach, and what he's preaching is bullshit. I mean, he claims that all he's saying, all he's doing is articulating facts. And so one of his facts left in the comments to one of my videos, or somebody's video, I guess it was Sick Liberals, was that nature is as perfect a system as can be. Okay, nature is this. All right, it can't be improved upon. I mean, that's his fact. That's what he claims is a fact. And he spouts that there's there's all culture is corrupt by its very nature. The fact that it was in the hands of morons for all of human history, well, that's irrelevant to him. It's civilization's fault. It's not the human being's fault, it's civilization's fault. And then he would have us, by some miraculous mechanism, we would go back to nature, okay, and eat bugs and crab apples. Not big round nice apples, no, crab apples. We would eat what nature provides us, okay? So of course our appendix would have to grow back, because we'll be eating a lot of rocks and dirt and bugs and shit. And we would, this is the world he thinks human beings are happier in. He thinks human beings are happier watching most of their children die. They're happier doing that. They're healthier too, you see, because they don't bother with that whole old age thing. They break a couple of teeth and they drop dead. So yeah, it's a lot simpler. You don't have to go through that deterioration thing. You just drop fucking dead, in a month. We don't give you 40 years to drop dead. We'll just let you rot on the other side of the stream because you've got a twisted ankle. It's just such bullshit. If we're gonna go back, why don't we just go back to being cockroaches? I'm sure cockroaches are really healthy and happy. Okay, they don't have to worry about anything. They don't think about anything. They just do what nature is. And let's get on to what nature is, Zack. Why don't you explain to us what nature is? Why don't you explain to us what designs it? All right, why don't you explain how I am wrong to say that it is bacteria, that it's built on the simple DNA premise of consumption and reproduction. Why don't you explain how it's something else, that the blueprint is something else besides consumption and reproduction, and explain to me how that's perfect in by any eloquent definition, by any beautiful or meaningful definition. It sounds pretty fucking crude to me. It sounds like a machine, okay? A machine that consumes and reproduces, conquers. That's what all that nature is doing all the fucking time. Every species out there is basically designed to take over, to conquest, to cover the fucking earth with its spawn. And we see it happen all the time. We see what nature does to its own kind. It drives, more organisms have gone extinct than exist, you dumb fucker. And they haven't gone extinct because of anything mankind did or anything civilization did. That's the nature of nature. So by you saying we should go back to nature, you might as well just say we should go extinct. And I might not argue with that, but then I would argue, well, what's the point then? What's the point of having a planet Earth if the point isn't to have something reach for the stars, but to have something try to achieve something more magnificent than fucking and having children and taking over the fucking world? I mean, what's the fucking point? I mean, you say consumption, excess consumption has led to our downfall. Yes, well, that's the downfall that every organism faces. It happens to them all the time. They consume everything, they blight an area, and they have to move on and blight another area. And if they overpopulate to some point, then they all get diseases and drop dead. And sometimes they do that so dramatically that they go extinct because they just went too far. It happens all the time. Populations increase, then they get diseases, and then they decrease. I mean, we did it to our own kind. We probably displaced Cro-Magnon man. You know, we destroyed other human variations. Humanity did that. Or it would have been either us or them. And that's the way nature works. It's you or them. And it's just saying, let's go back. Let's just have contempt for our intelligence, because we haven't perfected it yet, because we in a mere 10,000 years couldn't build our character enough, couldn't escape our cockroach fucking biology and become something more elegant. You're going to say it's impossible, and you're going to say that's a fact. It's impossible for civilization to do better. It's impossible, and that you're going to claim that's a fact. And then you're going to say, I don't wish to be ridiculed for claiming such a preposterous piece of shit to be truth and fact. You can't base it on anything, nothing whatsoever. I mean, what? It is proof because ignorant people have done stupid things that proves that smart people can't do smart things? I don't think so, asshole. I mean, we can fix this system. And you're idiotic. What you are proposing is just plain preposterous. I don't know why there's anybody listening to you. Because it means you're going to have to kill 95% of the human population. You can't do what you want to do without basically annihilating the human race. Substantially. I mean, maybe you can leave a few 100,000. I mean, what, do you think there's millions of great apes on Earth? Or there ever was a time where there were millions of great apes? Or millions of orangutans? Or millions of chimpanzees? Or billions? No, there wasn't. They existed in small niches because they're a delicate, complex, sophisticated organism. All right? It's not as adaptable as we like to think it is. And the only thing that made us adaptable was technology. That's it. Without the technology, there's no capacity to fucking adapt, you idiot. And so we can only live in environments that provide us all that we need. And we have a very delicate disposition. So we're not going to live all over the world. We're not going to be everywhere. There's not going to be a substantial human presence on Earth. And that's what you're advocating. So you're saying, give it back to the bacteria. You're saying, give planet Earth back to the bacteria. Give it back to the DNA. Don't try to be something more than the DNA. Don't try to be something more than consumption and reproduction. And that's your intelligent proposal. And I'm supposed to take it seriously. I'm supposed to take you seriously. I mean, it's a crock of shit. Defend it, asshole. Defend it. Point out how we are not just fucking bacteria with a brain. Point out how it isn't the nature of our psychology, the part that nature has built for us to be selfish bastards. Point out how that is not true. To deny reaching for the stars so we can live in a cesspool. I mean, tell me, explain to me how that's intelligence. I mean, your burden isn't that high, Zack. It really isn't that hard to prove what you're saying. If you're going to say that culture is intrinsically corrupt, then prove it. Demonstrate it with some sort of logical argument. Demonstrate that even in the hands of intelligent people, culture would fail. That there's no such thing as human beings that can think in terms of sustainability and still have technology and still grow and still create without doing it destructively and selfishly. Explain to me how that's impossible. That such a human can't exist. I mean, you don't defend your arguments with anything. You just say, I'm speaking facts. I know the facts. You don't know the facts because you haven't read my nursery rhymes. You haven't read my special fairy tale books. I mean, it's just bullshit, Zack. Everybody can give you a list of reading material. You haven't read what I've read. You know, it's just such bullshit.